You know, some actors just play a part. But then you have someone like Diane Keaton who literally creates a whole new type of person on screen. Over her amazing career, she's given us these women who are just so complicated, so funny, and so human. So today, let's dig into two of her absolute classics to really get what the Keaton woman is all about. It all starts with this. La da da. It's more than just a quirky phrase, isn't it? It's a whole personality packed into three little syllables. A little bit quirky, a little defensive, but totally charming. This was basically the calling card for a brand new kind of woman in film. And this is the thing you gotta get. Before Keaton, on-screen heroines were kind of stuck in these boxes, the damsel in distress, the femme fatale. But Keaton's characters? Oh man, they were this incredible mess of contradictions. And we're gonna unpack that by looking at two of her most iconic roles, filmed decades apart. Okay, so let's start with a character that basically launched Diane Keaton into the stratosphere and made her a fashion icon. We're talking about Annie Hall. This wasn't just a movie role, it was a full-blown cultural moment. So what makes Annie, well, Annie? It's this perfect storm of unforgettable traits. It's her funny little mannerisms and the way she talks. It's that iconic menswear fashion that everybody copied. It's her passion for singing and photography. And of course, it's her completely chaotic but hilarious relationship with the equally neurotic Elvie Singer. This line right here, it's pure, uncut Annie Hall. It just gives you a perfect snapshot of her whole vibe. It's this mix of genuine, wide-eyed curiosity and a kind of charming cluelessness. She says this to Alvy, and for him, that is such a loaded statement, but she has no idea. It's just so Annie. And of course, you can't even begin to talk about Annie Hall without bringing up the lobsters. This scene is the absolute peak of their chaotic, anxious, but completely undeniable chemistry. And listen to this dialogue, because it tells you everything you need to know. Alvy is in full-on panic mode, strategizing like he's trying to defuse a bomb. And what's Annie doing? She's grabbing her camera. He sees a crisis. She sees a moment. That dynamic right there, that's their entire relationship in a nutshell. But here's the thing, Annie is so much more than just Alvy's quirky muse. A huge piece of her story is about finding herself. Yeah, Alvy is always trying to improve her, pushing her to read certain books, take certain classes. But through therapy, through her singing, she starts finding her own voice. And eventually, she makes that huge, brave move to California all on her own terms. Okay, so now let's fast forward 26 years. And here we meet Erica Berry. She's this hugely successful playwright living it up in the Hamptons. You could say she's the evolution of the Keaton woman. She's what happens when that anxious young artist grows up and becomes an absolute boss in her field. Now, Erica's world is nothing like Annie's early chaos. I mean, it is the total opposite. She is completely in control, she's a famous writer, her house is perfect, her life is organized down to the minute, and she is perfectly fine being on her own. But underneath all that composure, there's a vulnerability she's kept hidden for a long time. So just imagine, a man is standing half-dressed in her kitchen, and this is one of the first things she says to him. It's delivered with this amazing mix of panic and total deadpan confidence. This is not the flustered Annie Hall we know. This is a woman who, even when she's caught off guard, is made of solid steel. Okay, this dinner scene is just brilliant. It's basically this big debate about the brutal reality of dating when you're an older woman. On one side, you have Harry, who only dates women under 30, and then Erica's sister Zoe just lays it all out there, how successful older men are seen as catches, while incredible women their own age are basically ignored. And this is the brilliant twist, right? The guy who totally turns her perfectly controlled world upside down, it's not some young guy. It's Harry, a 63-year-old playboy. He represents everything she's up against, and yet he's the one who makes her face the one thing she's been avoiding, her own heart. Okay, so we've got the quirky 70s artist on one hand and the powerful modern author on the other. At first glance, they seem like they're from different planets, but they're not. Let's connect the dots here and see how they're really two sides of the very same incredible coin. So, that's the big question, isn't it? What on earth does a nervous singer from the 70s have in common with a big-shot playwright from the early 2000s? What is that secret ingredient that makes them both so Keaton? All right, let's really break this down. Just look at this evolution. Her job goes from aspiring to renowned. Her core anxiety shifts too. It's not about, am I smart enough for him, like it was with Annie? For Erica, it's, am I brave enough to let someone in and get hurt again? They both have to deal with these impossible men, and they both go through this huge personal growth. This shows us how the story of a successful woman's inner life got way more complex and way more important over time. So, at the end of the day, here's what ties them together. Despite all the differences, they share that same DNA. They're incredibly smart, they're a little bit anxious about the world, and most importantly, they absolutely refuse to just be the sidekick in some guy's story. So, why are we still talking about these characters all these years later? Why do we still, as Alvy Singer would say, love them? You remember that joke from the end of Annie Hall about the guy whose brother thinks he's a chicken? The punchline is, I'd turn him in, but I need the eggs. Alvy says that's what relationships are like. Irrational, but we need them. And honestly, I think that's how we feel about these characters. The reason they feel so real is because they are real. They're messy, they're flawed, they're full of self-doubt, but they're also brilliant. They don't have all the answers, their struggles with love, with their careers, with just figuring themselves out. Those are our struggles too. We need the eggs, because in a way, they are us. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. From the anxious artist to the powerhouse author and all the amazing roles in between, which of her characters do you think really, truly defines the incredible and enduring legacy of Diane Keaton?